And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey, Wine, and Writing. I am your host, Tasha.
And I am your co-host, EL.
And we were supposed to have P and Elrod on the show tonight, but something has come up and that's not going to be happening. So we're actually condensing the show tonight because we've had a bunch of unfortunate circumstances going on between my net not working because I'm in the boonies, and then EL's net isn't working just because it's being a butt. So it's just, we have had such a hard time. I mean, we're even 5 minutes late again getting on the air. We actually don't even have our social media coordinator, Suzanne, because she's on vacation. So I'm telling you, it's an
That's not
absolute
allowed.
week.
Suzanne,
Vacations aren't allowed.
future vacations.
No, vacations are allowed. Vacations are good. So we figured we'll stick it to a half an hour tonight and just talk about some awesome pitch competitions and contests and just writing in general. So of course, if you guys want to talk with us, you can hashtag us at WW Writing, and hopefully one or the other doesn't get booted off the net and then we're stuck in dead air. That's kind of why we're condensing it, because obviously we are having just a mountain of problems tonight. So I actually am in Central Florida tonight, as opposed, you'll notice my backdrop is different because my mom had a full knee replacement on Monday. So I am here with her for the month, and they have really, really crappy net. I'm not saying that to be nice. It's really, really crappy. But for the month, she is bionic mom. EL has seen the pictures of this really crazy machine they make her use in bed, and it's, I should post the picture. But yes, so right now she's bionic mom. She's doing good, but crappy net. So bear with us, guys. Sorry.
So one of the first things that I want to talk about is, well, we want to talk about pitch competitions, but I just want to say that both myself and Tasha have been on both sides of pitch competitions as entrants and as people behind the scenes. Tasha as a judge, me reading the slush and judging as well. We got to pick out the ones that we like. I did Nest Pitch and you did Query Combat, is that right?
Yes, I did Query Combat, and today actually we just announced the writers who are going to the next round for New Agent, which is done by Michelle Hawk, as well as Query Combat, and that's where like all these new agents who are trying to fill their client list, these phenomenal writers get to pitch to them, and I believe that's going to happen Monday. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's really hard.
Well, you know, when I entered it, I was surprised by the amount of people that, like, Pitch Wars is massive anyway, but by the amount of people that entered. And when I did Nest Pitch, being on the other side of it, it's not just a case of all these entries, it's a case of having to read all of the entries.
What was Nest Pitch? Was Nest Pitch the query plus 250, or what was the entry?
Yeah, it was query plus 250 plus the answer to a question. Just like not a general knowledge, but just the creative answer to a question.
Yeah.
What flavor Easter egg would your character like? So, and when those entries came through, we really, really did read every single entry.
Oh, so did we, and I was agonizing over some of them. I'm like, it took me till the last minute to pick my final four because I kept going back and forth between two, especially. I was just back and forth. I was back and forth. It is really, really hard sometimes to pick, you know, a finite amount of manuscripts when there is just a pool of really good writing.
Yeah. I think there's always ones that shine brighter than the other, because for us, and it was one that we all liked very early on. As soon as we read it, we liked it, and we clung hold of it. We didn't let it go to any other team, and that was one of our final, because it was just one of our people on our team could relate to the main character, and the writing was so tight. I remember reading the request that I got. You know, Sharon requested more chapters, and I remember reading it and thinking, I can't do anything to this. I can't offer any help or guidance because this author has nailed everything that should be there.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes even when you do nail everything that should be there, it's still really hard to query and get an agent. But it's, I mean, I announced my four, and then with New Agent, we had group picks. That means we all had to decide, or at least have a majority vote on the manuscript. And man, some of those we were fighting over some of them. we were like, no, it's not gonna be a group pick. That's mine. That's it. No, you don't know. No, but it was a lot of fun. And I really like it because after you announce it, it's always really nice to see even the people who didn't get in, how supportive they are of the people who got in. And I have been in that seat where I didn't get into the competitions I wanted to get into. I didn't get into New Agent last year. I tried. I didn't get into Pitch Wars. I didn't get into anything. And then it's really funny because when I got my offer of rep, I had entered Sun versus Snow. And I got the offer of rep, so I had to email Michelle and be like, hey, I don't know if I got in. I probably didn't, but because at that point I hadn't gotten into anything. But this was a totally new manuscript.
The fresh manuscript, yeah.
Yeah, this was a fresh manuscript. This was not the same manuscript I had entered into Pitch Wars or New Agent last year. This was a new manuscript. So I was like, I don't know if I got in, but I needed to let you know that I've got an offer of rep, so I need to pull out. And she was like, actually, yeah, you were a pick. And I was like, ah. So, you know, so it's always exciting to know that you could have been a pick. But, you know, sometimes it's also good, I think, because if you put your manuscript in so many pitch things, people have seen it and they've known it and they've seen it and they've seen it, and it gets kind of repetitive. So it is good to have a fresh manuscript. So I think it's definitely good to continuously write something new to put out there into the next pitch competition as well, so you're not consistently putting out the same manuscript.
I mean, I'm not a big entrant into pitch competitions. I did Pitch Wars, and I did Nightmare on Query Street, and then that was enough for me because because I like to be a little lone wolf off there in the corner doing things by myself with my critique partners and beta readers, and B, because the subject the genre, I had paranormal romance, but it was vampire heavy, and agents,
which is really hard right now in traditional publishing houses. It's really hard to get that picked up. And my original manuscript for the pitch was in urban fantasy. And that wasn't getting picked up. I mean, it's a matter of what's marketable, and that didn't work. And then I wound up writing a romantic suspense for the first time in my entire life. And that's what got me my agent. So I also think it's good to kind of wander outside your genre and put your foot in the water with different types of novels. So, because I enjoy writing both. I still write urban fantasy. I still write romantic suspense. I enjoy writing both. And eventually urban fantasy is going to come back around, and bam, I got my manuscripts ready. What? I'm sorry. I got excited.
I think with me, I just wanted to self-publish. That was my problem. Like right back in Pitch Wars, I remember speaking to you on Gmail and saying I think I'm probably going to end up self-publishing anyway, because it was always my intention. I think, and because I've got the skills, you need a few skills, and I've got some of those skills, and then obviously my editor had the rest of the skills, and my critique partners, and I enjoyed it. But I don't ever regret entering pitch competitions, because it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
And that is so true, because you learn so much from the competition, even if you don't get in, especially if you participate in the Twitter parties or the Facebook groups that a lot of them have and all this other stuff, because you wind up meeting a new network of writers or adding to your existing one, and you learn tips and tricks you may not have known before. So I think it's really good to do it, whether you get into the competition or not.
Yeah. I've learned so much since. It's hard to believe it's only been a year, isn't it, since Pitch Wars?
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe how far I've come, I think, and other people. We've seen, a lot of people from last year.
This time last year, I didn't have an agent, and I didn't even have a second manuscript. This time last year, I only had Blood Moon, which was my urban fantasy, and I hadn't even started Redemption. And then after Pitch Wars, I had something, I don't know, it started out as a short story, and then it just kind of evolved. And, and then the next thing I knew, like by December, I was querying. And because I wrote it that fast. I've never written a novel that fast in my life. I'll probably never, ever do it again. But I did it. I edited it. I went through my critiques with it, beta read it, and started querying. In January, I had an agent. It was crazy. It was crazy. I had offers. It's not, you know, there's still steps once you have the offer. But yes, I had the offer, and it was amazing. So
it was very quick because I think within the space of about 2 weeks, I critiqued it twice, the whole thing, from start to finish.
Yeah,
that's how quick.
Yeah, redemption went really quick from start to end. And I think that just happens sometimes. It just depends on what you're writing. I still don't ever think it's going to happen ever again. I'm still, you know, editing my second novel because I had it about halfway done, maybe a little bit more before I came up here. And I'm like, oh, I'll have time in between mom and everything else to edit it. No.
Not gonna happen.
No. I mean, and again, that's why I missed, you know, last week's show, was because the hospital she had the knee replacement at is an hour away. So it's like, by the time she was out of surgery and we were able to see her, I didn't even get to see her because it was like, I don't know, it was like a little after 6, they told us she was out of surgery. She's fine. I was like, okay, great. I have 4 dogs at home. Dad, you stay. I'll go. So I had to go let out these poor dogs that have been locked inside all day and were hungry. So I had to come home and take care of the dogs. And then by the time I got home, it was 7, took care of everything I need to do. It was already after 8. And so I just went on there and I'm cheering Emma on because she and Elle are just doing a great job. It was really fantastic show last week.
It was awesome having Penelope Ward on, but we had so many technical problems beforehand.
Oh, you mean kind of like tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just making sure it happens. But yeah, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think at least doing a few of them, if you don't want to do them consistently, I think at least putting yourself out there once into a pitch competition is worth it, because you're going to learn so much. It's going to blow your mind. It really is. So,
what do you think, Tasha, is the biggest thing of all that you took from your experiences within pitch competitions?
Having a really good support group of other writers, because in real life, or at least in my real life, I don't really know a lot of readers or writers. And so if I sit there and I'm having a problem with my writing, it's really hard to try and discuss it with them because they don't understand. And when I did the pitch competition, I met all these other writers, and a lot of them were going through the same similar stages of the writing path as I was. I think it was phenomenal because I met a critique group and so many other people who were where I was, and they actually understood the frustration. They understood when I was having a problem with the plot and all that other stuff. So I think, you know, putting yourself out there and meeting other writers is going to help tremendously.
I think mine is the same, because that is it's just the best thing that you can get, because writing is such a lonely thing to do. It's just you and your laptop and constant words, if you're lucky.
Yeah, and seriously.
Like before Pitch Wars, I was on Twitter. I've been on Twitter for a little while, but I wasn't, and I tweet a lot, but I wasn't actively seeking new people because A, I didn't know that there were so many of them out there. B, I hadn't got a clue what I was doing. And C, I just wasn't that switched on to the literary world. I didn't realise that there was a circle. And it's quite a small one, but full of so many people with so much knowledge. And it's only once I entered Pitch Wars that I found all that out. And I think the amount of growth my writing has had since Pitch Wars.
I'm telling you, if I never entered the pitch competitions, I wouldn't have an agent today. I wouldn't. I can pretty much guarantee that. So I also think it's something that people need to take away from pitch competitions, especially when you don't get in, is to be supportive of the people who do get in. And it's okay to feel bad. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to feel bad you didn't get in. I felt bad I didn't get in.
But don't get stroppy.
Yeah, don't start posting on Twitter and Facebook and everything about how people, you know, suck, or your manuscript should have been in, or this or that. What people tend to forget is this is a very, very small industry, and people remember. So when you start putting your foot in your mouth and making an ass out of yourself, people remember, especially when it's harping on other writers for no reason, or just because they got into a pitch competition and you didn't. Part of this industry is having your soul ripped out like every other day when things don't go the way you want them to, whether it's while you're writing the manuscript, or you're, you know, editing, or you're trying to query an agent, or you're trying to self-publish, or whatever. If you don't learn to roll with the punches and get that thick skin, and you know, it's not gonna work out for you. It's just not.
I don't think that, because like a lot of people say about thick skin, and I don't have thick skin. I don't. But I think there's a big difference between not having a thick skin and lashing out, and not having a thick skin and just, you know, just dealing with it. Because like some things they really get to me, but I won't, because something gets to me, I won't then go on a rampage on Twitter or my blog or anything like that. It's just a case of being able to handle it and having the common sense not to go mental.
And if you do need to go mental, that's okay too. Just do it in private. Don't do it on a public forum. That would not be good.
No, it would not be good. Don't do it. Okay, another thing that I want to talk to you about, Tasha, with the pitch competitions, did you get the pitches, like the 25-word pitches? You know, like the little queries?
No, not for new agent. It was the query in the first 250.
And what about query combat?
Query combat was just queries. It was queries were posted on the 3 host blogs, and we were assigned the blogs and the dates, and we had to go through and we vetted the 2 queries that were against each other. At the beginning, we were really kind of specific in our feedback about what we thought was good and what we thought was bad, and maybe where they needed to tighten it up. But as it got closer and closer to the end, then you know, we sat there and we were like, oh, okay, you know, less and less feedback, because even though it had been, I think at the beginning they're allowed to kind of update it if they make it to the next round because they had enough time. But at that point we were kind of being redundant. So it was more or less, it came down to really subjectivity towards the end of it, or maybe something so minor it was ridiculous just because you had to find a reason to knock somebody out of the competition. I mean, sometimes it doesn't mean that you have bad work or that something is bad. It just means that you have to find a way to, you know, knock somebody out so that there can be a winner. Otherwise there's never going to be a winner. And you know, it's really difficult.
You've got to be really, you know, you've got to use your brain when you're writing these queries, because there are so many workshops prior to these events. There are so many other people that are willing to help, that when the people judging the competition, when they get these queries with rhetorical questions, or they're vague, or they don't have the stakes or anything like that, there's no reason for it, because the help is there. You know, you can find it, so find it. Make that query beautiful, and it'll give you a really good chance.
Yeah, and here's the thing, that there's several ways to make your query beautiful. I mean, and just because it works for one, it might not work for another. It all so depends. It's so subjective at the end of the day. And even, you know, with these pitch competitions, we're all human, and there's still something likable to us about these manuscripts. And so we do the best we can to make sure that it's fair and even in all the genres of being represented. But it's still humanity is flawed. That's just basically what it comes down to. So, and again, it doesn't mean that anybody's work sucks. It just means that not really the luck of the draw, but the way the cards fall, I guess. There's so many things that come into play, including we were looking at the manuscript wish list for the agents. We were doing so many different things. Somebody thought because I was doing contemporary that I was only looking for contemporary romance, which I think only one of my picks has a main storyline of romance. Everything else is just strictly contemporary, set in modern day. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for anything set in modern day that I liked or didn't like. So.
Well, I can safely say that for next pitch, not a single manuscript that came in stuck. They all had good points about them. They're all very good, but there has to be a set of people that get through, and in that very small set of people that get through, there has to be a much bigger amount of people that don't get through. And there was some that didn't get through, and it really broke my heart because I really wanted them to go all the way, and it's really sad, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it does. And that doesn't mean they're not going to get an agent. I mean, you can still query. Just, you know, like I said, it's the way the cards fell. It's the way that, you know, the query was, or the first 250, maybe one was a little bit more passive in their writing than somebody else. I mean, some of it for that, it came down to that for me. Sorry, I have my laptop here because I'm trying to multitask with you guys. It's okay. So, but I think that, you know, it's just, like I said, it might be that somebody wrote a little bit more passive in their first 250, and that, as opposed to the active, or maybe somebody had a little bit too much backstory, or maybe somebody had a little bit too much description. It's still a really good story, and, you know, editing that out a little bit to the first 250 really pop will take it to the next level. It's not that the writing's bad, it's not that the story's bad, it's just the conglomeration of how everything came together.
Yeah, I agree. And there's I was just going to say about the genres as well. I think that you do have to be aware that there are unpopular genres out there, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't enter, because just because it's not popular doesn't mean that you're not going to get somewhere with it.
Yeah, no, that doesn't mean it. I mean, a lot of people say, you know, good writing trumps all, and in a lot of cases I think that's true, but in some cases, you know, agents or editors or publishing houses might look at it and be like, people just aren't buying it right now.
That doesn't mean to say that you should throw it in the bin, put it on the shelf, and come back to it.
Yep.
Because in a year or 2 years' time, that might be really
everything comes back around. Everything comes back around. I mean, right now, I think the biggest, basically YA anything I kind of feel is booming. Like, if it's YA, I feel like it's booming. I think right now the adult target audience, the adult category, is a little bit tougher than YA, at least in my opinion and from what I've seen.
Yeah. So,
but again, everything comes back around, and I'm not throwing away my urban fantasies. No, God, no, are you crazy? But you know, they'll probably come out dusty and need some work, especially since I haven't looked at them in so long and stuff like that. But I think that keeping your options open and writing the stories that come to you. Like, I didn't set out to just say, oh, hey, let me write a romantic suspense. No, that's not how that happened. That was literally, it was a story and a short story I was writing. And then I was like, no, this needs to go farther. And then I kind of brainstormed, believe it or not, while I was laying in bed one night. And I just kind of came up with the topic. And I think I kind of just started writing it and showed a little bit to my critique partners. And they were like, yes, keep going with this. And I was like, okay. So again, it all kind of depends on what's going on and the stories that come to you. And again, a conglomeration. That is my word tonight, conglomeration. So.
I like that word.
I like it tonight too. So.
Oh, speaking of that, do you know what? That's one thing that really gets on my nerves in manuscripts. Word repetition, the same word over and over again. And something that I'm very, very guilty of too. Very guilty of it, and yet it gets on my nerves. Crazy, isn't it? You got to watch those sentences, like, sometimes without even realizing it. It's because your brain picks up a word and you think, yeah, I'll write that word. So like a paragraph later, that word is still in your brain, so you do it again and again and again, and it's really annoying. I mean, I read at least 2 books a week, but I've read up to 6 books in a week. And repetition really gets on my nerves.
We're not going to talk about how I tried to do something on this computer and then put it over on my laptop like they were somehow connected.
Wouldn't that be cool if you just go?
So actually, our social media coordinator, Suzanne, wants to come on and chat with us. Al, can you do that? Because I'm like having the hardest time. Like I'm even playing with these wiggle wires on these really crappy speakers on my mom's computer because sometimes you're just buzzing noise and I'm trying to make it work.
I will try.
I'm telling you guys, it's a mishmash tonight. It's a mishmash. So it's like the original Whiskey, Wine, and Writing where we just came on and we talked about shenanigans. So we can do that.
I think we should. What are you reading right now?
And that's fine. I like talking about shenanigans. I just like it when I can hear what I'm talking about. There we go. It works now. No buzzing. But also, we do have Pitch Wars coming up, and I know that there is a lot of stuff going on for that. A lot of people are offering critiques, and you should probably, especially if you did New Agent and you met people through there, you met people just from these other pitch competitions, find people who are willing to give you feedback on your stuff. You know, the more feedback you get, and the more you learn to implement edits and just work hard at it, you know, the better and better your stuff is going to become, and the more and more of a chance you're going to have to get into these competitions.
Yeah, as long as you learn. One of the things that's really difficult, and it is quite difficult, is learning when to listen to the advice given to you and when not to, because not every piece of advice that you get is going to suit you or suit your voice or you're going to agree with, because sometimes some advice can knock your voice out completely and you'll end up writing in a way that's not natural to you, and so and that's really visible when there's a section of the manuscript that changes. You can see that from a mile away, so you have got to be careful about not taking every bit of advice that you're given.
Yeah, no, it's definitely learning to what to implement and what not to implement, and how to implement it your own way. Without, like, if somebody gives you a we, as critique partners, we suggest different ways to write sentences all the time, but that doesn't mean copy and paste. That means, well, here's an idea of how you can do it, take it and make it your own, so that's what we do.
I think, though, that our critique group, we're quite lucky in that I think we know each other's voices very, very well now, so we can structure a sentence to sound like the voice that we're parroting to.
Exactly. Hi, Suzanne!
Hello, she's here. Hello, welcome to Whiskey, Wine, and Writing.
Wow. So I don't know if it's happening for anybody else, but for me, the blinking of going back and forth is just flipping in and out, so I don't know what's going on. I'm assuming it's just my net. I hope it's not this bad for people watching. Sorry.
It's broken. Tasha broke Whiskey, Wine, and Writing.
I did not break Whiskey, Wine, and Writing, okay? It's been a day. It's been a day. God.
It's been a nightmare.
It's not a nightmare, but it's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy today. So, Suzanne, what's up? What's shaking? What's happening, man?
What's shaking? I don't know. I'm live from, like, my hot as balls apartment. That's why my forehead's so shiny. I'm like, about how shiny it is now. I'm in my bed, which is like super professional. But
I'd totally be doing it from my bed right now if I had a decent net on my laptop.
Well, I saw you guys were talking about competitions, and I was like, I want to go on and talk about competitions. Of course, now you're not talking about it by the time I got your attention.
No, we are. You keep going.
No, because I actually entered New Agent, and I didn't get in, and it's okay. But I wanted to, like, pop in as somebody who's, like, not represented and is, like, going through this process and how, like, self-defeating and horrible it is sometimes. I don't know if there's, like, anybody watching who either did New Agent and didn't get in, or did get in, congratulations, or has done other pitch conversations and hasn't gotten in, but I just wanted to, like, send my good vibes out there and basically say that if you haven't checked Dan Cobalt's breakdown on, like, the numbers of these competitions and how they work out and, like, how few people actually get in or get any interest whatsoever, you should, because then you'll feel like less of a failure, because it's not about you not being good at what you do. You could have a great manuscript and a great query and a great first 250, but it's, like, literally a numbers game at the end of it, and so don't feel like crap, because you're probably not crap.
No.
And Dan's a pretty smart guy. If I recall, he works for like a university. He's pretty good, you know, pretty smart guy. And I'm telling you, working with all these judges is amazing. I said, I tweeted earlier, I'm like, I want to pocket size them. Can I pocket size them and just carry them around with me? That would be great. So it's amazing. And, you know, it is really hard. Like she said, it's a numbers game. And if I could have had everybody I wanted on my team, I'd probably have a really big team. But, you know, it came down to, like I said, certain nuances, certain different things that resonated with me more, whether it was a voice or, like I said, less passive writing or this or that. It's just, it's hard, okay?
Yeah, it's super hard. And it's hard on everybody because all of the judges and, you know, everyone wants you to succeed. Everybody wants to see everybody succeed, but if we did that, it would just be like a slush pile nightmare. So, you know, there's so much work that goes into this, and I want to give props to like all the team captains and everyone, and Michelle and everyone who was involved in this particular competition, because I know that the submission amount was a lot higher than expected, and it was a lot of work, and like, just props to everyone who does competitions, period, like the people who organize them, because it's a lot of work and you end up breaking a lot of hearts even though you don't mean to, and there's always like the select few special personalities who like to go on social media and be total jerks about it. And it's just not an easy thing to deal with, and as somebody who's like on the querying side of the process, I have a lot of appreciation for everybody who puts in all this work to like help us a little bit in this huge process.
I kind of like, because this is query combat was kind of the first thing I ever did on the opposite side, because last year, like I said, I was on the querying side of things. So query combat kind of like gave me the baby steps to start coming into this, and now a new agent, and then I would be a pitch force mentor. So you don't realize when you're on the opposite side how hard it is for that other person. Like when you're doing the querying, and it is disheartening, and it's kind of hard to come back sometimes. But I think the best thing to do is realize that the best thing you can do is come back from it, learn from it, and come back from it, and then pay it forward, which is what I'm trying to do, which is why I'm now on this side of things. And if I have the opportunity to help another writer, then I want to do that. So it's not like I sit there and I pick people just to piss other people off.
Mm-hmm.
I just try to do the best that I can to help somebody else maybe get their manuscript in front of that perfect agent for them, you know?
I think as well, if people really do have a horrendous time and they really find that they're not coping well with it, then they don't, you know, you don't feel the need to have to enter the competitions to meet all these people online. Just be supportive of all the other people and just go ahead and query, you know, the way that people do. That's the traditional way to do it, is to go ahead and query. And then if you feel stronger in a few months' time and you want to enter a competition, then go ahead and do it. You don't have to enter them. You don't have to query traditionally. Do whatever you want to do. We've got here, Samantha Harris said, I made it onto Team Contemporary, luckily, but New Agent was my 5th contest entered and the first time I ever got a good response. So it just goes to show. Can I just say that while we're doing this show, my animals are walking around my living room absolutely trashing everything, completely taking advantage of the fact that I'm on the internet. I've got a cat over there digging holes in the sofa, a dog over there eating food that he shouldn't be, and a cat down there trying to chew through wires. They're trashing my house. Stressing me out.
Yeah. The only one in here with me is Storm. The other 3 are not, because no.
So, because we were having such a flap before the show, I didn't have time to get them out. So basically, with Samantha Harris there, that's exactly what a lot of people find, that they do enter lots and lots and lots and lots before they get picked up. Or for Tasha, you enter 2, and then you've got an agent traditionally. You know, if your manuscript is meant to be, your time will come.
Yeah, everything I entered before that, I never got a nibble, and then the one I would have gotten a nibble on, I had to withdraw from because I got an offer of rep. So it just goes to show you never know what can happen.
Exactly. And also some manuscripts don't do well with Twitter competitions and stuff. Like I know in particular for speculative fiction, it's really hard because there's a lot of world building that you have to do, and depending on like how bizarre your particular situation is, like sometimes trying to sell it in 140 characters or like just a first 250 or something like that isn't enough. Like sometimes, I mean, your query letter has to be strong no matter what because most agents only accept query letters. There's the select few that also ask for a couple pages, whether it's like the first 5, 10, 50, whatever. But when it, especially like with Twitter and things like that, there's just some things that don't compete well. And I know personally, I've had a good amount of luck with Twitter competitions, but largely, I mean, my first full request came from just good old slush pile querying. So it really depends. And, you know, with something like New Agent, because you are submitting your query letter, like if you didn't get picked, you know, it's possible that your query could use some help, and there's plenty of resources. I mean, there's currently a section. Isn't Brenda doing a second auction right now?
I don't think it's Brenda. I think it's E.G. Moore who's doing the second auction, I believe. But yes, there is going to be a second auction. I believe the first one closed today. Yeah, right?
Or something like that. They're doing auctions right now that are to benefit a good cause, and a lot of people are.
Yes, for Veronica Bartles, she's a Pitch Wars mentor. They're trying to move back into their house, but while they were off in another state, I believe a pipe burst and nobody was living there, and it molded out the whole place, and they're trying to move home for her health actually, and they can't because there's mold everywhere in the house, and for whatever reason their insurance company won't pay for it. So we're trying to raise the funds to help her out, to get back home, to get her health better, and all that good stuff. So.
And there's a GoFundMe page too as well, which a lot of us have tweeted about. I've tweeted about it recently. Brenda's tweeted about it recently. You can go on there and just even if you just want to donate something, every penny helps.
Definitely, every penny helps. And by the way, Samantha Harris, Team Contemporary, that's us. That's me. I'm just saying. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So I was just saying that like a lot of people are giving out query critiques right now, and there's always competitions and raffles and stuff going on. Like this one in particular is important because we're trying to help someone manage their costs that they desperately need to. But there's people always all over Twitter offering stuff. So like, or even just like a friend, like have a friend look at your query. Sometimes agents also offer query critiques. You know, there's a ton of different ways that you could do this. I think the most important thing, though, is to not give up. Like, I allowed myself to feel really upset about not getting onto New Agent for, like, years.
She does. I get the IMs because Suzanne is awesome and I love her, and I get to hear it, and I don't mind. Don't get me wrong. I love it. So it's just like, oh, no, don't feel bad. Like, I always feel awkward because I'm like, what do I say? I always feel like I never say the right thing. That's amazing.
Yeah, though, and it's totally fine because I knew you had nothing to like do. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, it wasn't anything I took personally, but like, I was upset about it for like 4 hours, and then I went and queried through more people, and I was like, okay, like back on the horse because
exactly, and you are allowed to feel bad about it. Like I said, I felt bad when I didn't get into pitch competitions and all this stuff. I did too, but like you got to get back up on that horse and keep querying, or maybe tweak your query before you send it out again, or maybe double check your 250 if that's what you want to do. It all depends on what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Again, just because your query in 250 didn't make it into New Agent doesn't even mean it was bad. It just means that the conglomeration did not happen this time.
Exactly.
Particular
manuscript. I have a 65% request rate so far because I'm, I guess, talented, but also like pretty lucky, and I didn't get into this competition. It's not the end of the world. Like, you will be okay. So competitions are great, but they aren't everything.
They are great tools for learning.
You guys both talked at the same time, and I have no idea what you said.
I said they're great tools for learning.
Yes.
And I said they're not the be-all and end-all of your writing career.
Absolutely, absolutely. However, if you go around and you don't get into pitch competitions, or you're having a rough day and you blow up on Twitter or Facebook, or decide to show your ass, that can be the end-all be-all of your writing career.
Yeah, so, no ass showing.
Yeah, no, people, like I said, people forget how small this industry is, and once you present yourself as that problem writer, it's remembered. It really is remembered. So try not to do that.
So be careful with your social media. I do it for money. I know. I see all you people and the things that you post, and it's not a good idea to be a jerk.
So, and she does do it for money, and she's amazing for it. I got to be a reference. It was awesome. I was like, oh, she's asking me. So I get excited way too easily, guys. Like, so maybe I'm just tired. It's been a long week. So, okay.
Vacation. Don't I look like super rested? No, I don't. I still look tired.
I don't know how well the makeup worked out. I don't know how tired I look or don't look. I just know that I put on makeup so I didn't look like death. Em saw me yesterday, and she's like, "You're tired." I'm like, "I know." So
this is looking like death for me. Also looking like sweat.
You look beautiful. Shut up. So
I put makeup on, but I think I missed my face. I can't find it.
I was sitting there, and I was like looking over at my laptop earlier, and I noticed, I was like, it looks like I have a black eye. Okay, see? So, yeah. Yeah, it's that kind of a week. But I have bionic mom, so, you know, we had the technology. We did rebuild her, and now it's a bunch of rehab and payments.
That leg contraction is really something.
I can't hear you. The speakers went stupid again.
Is that your leg contraction? Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that she's supposed to be on that 6 hours a day. So, but it is really hard to be on that thing 6 hours a day, and I can understand. So sometimes she is, and sometimes she isn't. I mean, she uses it every day, but not necessarily for 6 hours, and I can't blame her. I think that's really extreme for home therapy, self-therapy. That's not even her therapist is here. Her therapist was here this morning and didn't touch that thing. Okay? That's her own self-home therapy thing. So that I have to help her with because she can't lift it. I have to lift it. So, but yeah, so I call her Bionic Mom right now. I mean, and she has a card now that she has to keep with her forever because if she walks through a metal detector, it will go off.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, can we take you to the airport? Can we have fun with this? Like, I'm terrible. I'm like, I'm going to put us on the no-fly list. I'm bad.
So I want to, for the viewers, particularly those that enter pitch competition, what is the best advice that you think that you can give to those viewers? Suzanne?
Oh, you're asking me? Okay. Wait, so repeat the question? Sorry.
What advice would you give? What do you think is the best pieces of advice you could give to people entering pitch competitions?
Let's see. Number one, make sure that you follow the rules.
Yeah.
You find the blog that talks about this competition and that you follow the rules because that's like the number one most important thing, and people don't follow rules and it ends up hurting everybody. So make sure that you do that. Number two, make sure you remember that competitions are really tough. They're a very high volume situation. There's a lot of people who have manuscripts who they want to be published, and they join these competitions, and it's hundreds of people. So, like, if you don't get as many favorites as you want during, like, Pit Mad, or you don't get selected for a team in Pitch Wars, or any number of things, like, it's okay. You're going to be fine. It's not a make or break of your career, and you should try not to take it personally. I know it's really hard. I take a lot of things really, really personally. So it's tough, but try to remember that. I'm trying to think if there's a number three. Oh, yeah. Number three is, like, have fun and make friends. I think that's super important. Like, today I broke 500 Twitter followers because I posted something about not getting into New Agent. That was, like, positive. It wasn't nasty, but it was just, like...
Y'all should be following Samantha anyway because she's awesome. I'm sorry.
Samantha? My name?
Suzanne! I was reading Samantha's Twitter comment. I'm sorry.
My name is not Samantha.
It's Suzanne, but Samantha Harris is on my contemporary team, and I was actually reading the actual Twitter comment when you started talking about that. I'm sorry. Okay, this is what happens when you read and talk at the same time. You mix up your people. But yes, you should follow Suzanne.
Yeah,
Suzanne.
You should.
Suzanne.
From, like, just, like, posting about New Agent and being like, oh, I didn't get in, but it's okay. And I have, like, 15 new, like, Twitter friends now because of that. And it's always cool to support each other. So, yeah, have fun, don't take it too personally, and follow the rules, please.
Following the rules is good. Also, don't make assumption on the judges because of hints they're giving. That's kind of mean. I just want to put that there. So.
Sorry, what do you mean by that?
We saw some people who, like, because we were playing around and we were tweeting hints and stuff like that, they got the wrong idea. And it's a hint for a reason. You're not supposed to really know what's going on, but it's supposed to be fun and make people think. But, you know, if people start coming back and making, not necessarily hurtful, but they start, like, being like, well, this, and this is obviously happening behind the scenes, and they really don't know what's happening behind the scenes, that's when judges start to get a little worried. And I did tweet about it. I was like, look, this is why judges get a little worrisome about tweeting hints, because people start coming out and saying this kind of stuff, and this isn't necessarily what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's supposed to be fun when we're doing the hints and stuff like that. And it's supposed to make it a little bit easier through the waiting process and things like that. So that's why we try to keep it positive when we're tweeting hints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it just, you know.
It's fun. They should. That's the way they should be treated. They are fun. Mm-hmm. Don't take them too seriously.
I don't know if it was Wade or if it was Max, but they were tweeting completely useless, and it was really great. My picks have words. I was like, shh, you're going to give us away. Stuff like that, you know. But so those are good, but you know, just sometimes people, I think, forget that even the judges are human too, and we have been where everybody is. We've walked that line. We've queried. We've had our heart stomped on. We've not gotten into pitch competitions. We've not gotten into writing contests. We've had our stuff rejected. God, I had so many rejections. I don't know what to do with them all. So, I mean, we've been there, and it sucks when you are being rejected and you're not getting into the competitions, but you have to learn from it and learn how to start making your stuff either better or work within the publishing, you know, industry, stuff like that. You have to learn from it, and bashing other people or making other people feel bad because of stuff, it's not a way to do it. It's really not.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all just, like, I mean, when I did enter, if we could just enter and forget about it and then just have fun talking to the other entrants and not stress? It's so hard.
Well, that's why we do the Twitter parties. That's why we have the what's the first line of your manuscript, or, you know, what's this going on, and why the judges do the hints. And it's supposed to make the time go just a little bit faster and just a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. So.
A show.
So. I mean, it sucks sometimes, I think, on both sides when things happen. And that's just life, though. And there's a bug flying around in here, and it's settled on my nose.
So what we got coming up? What pitch competitions have we got coming up that people can keep their ears and eyes open for?
Pitch Wars, definitely. Yep. That's the big one.
Big one.
I don't know what else is coming up. I'm sorry, I've been so flooded with everything right now. I'm out of the loop.
I think with Pitch Wars, you really want to be ready for that, because not only, because Pitch Wars isn't as simple as just submitting your pitch. You need to go through, do your research, and find out which judge is going to be the best pick for you.
And there's going to be things to help for that as well. There's going to be a blog hop, and there's going to be we're going to have some of them on the show. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff so people can get to know the mentors. Yep. Brenda is. She's got. This woman is superwoman. I just want to put that out there, okay? All the stuff she gets lined up for this competition and everything you do. And if you don't see a lot of us who are normally, like, social media savvy and, you know, out there and stuff, I think even Kim Graff posted this, that we're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes to try to get everything ready for Pitch Wars. It's a big competition, and we want to make sure we're ready, and we want to make sure we're able to help people out. So, yeah. So there's definitely a lot going on, and yeah, this was only supposed to be a half-an-hour show, and somehow went to an hour, and nobody got booted off from their net. Victory is ours. But I think the main thing, no matter what side of the competition world you're on, whether you're a mentor or hosting or judging, or you're querying and hoping to get into a competition, I think the main thing to remember is to learn what you can, because even as judges, we're still learning. It's not like we know everything. We certainly don't. And we get to learn. We get to learn how hard it is to be on this side of the fence, and how hard it is for agents to have to, you know, go through queries every day, and, you know, all this other stuff. I mean, we're still learning. So I think no matter what side of the fence you are, the biggest thing to realize is that you don't know everything, and that you should be kind, because nobody's taking this lightly on either side of the fence.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for everybody.
I think if you're the kind of person that thinks that you know everything and that there's absolutely nothing wrong with anything that you ever do ever, then, you know, you're wrong.
Also, just to be clear, like, if anyone ever tells you that publishing is easy, like, you should run away from them as fast as humanly possible. Like, even when I was just, like, a little baby writer who, like, had maybe written, like, one or two of, like, her manuscript or whatever, every blog I would read about publishing was like, this is tough shit. Mm-hmm. This is so tough. No one has ever promised that this would be easy. No one has ever promised that even being an agent or a publisher was easy. Like, this whole industry is really tough. It's really tough for everybody, and, like, you know, there's that, like, super cliche quote that you find on, like, t-shirts at Target that's, like, be kind for everyone is fighting a hard battle or something like that. And it's, with this particular industry, it's really true, because writers are putting their hearts on the line here and all of their hopes and dreams, and agents want to see writers succeed and get yelled at every day by, like, thoroughly incompetent people and have to turn down books that they love because they know there's just not a market. And they have to break hearts. And then publishers also have to break hearts because they have certain responsibilities. So, like, none of this is easy. You knew that when you were signing up. Like, don't be a jerk.
Sorry, I was checking on Bionic Mom. She's in a recliner in the other room, and it's a glass door, so I can see her. So, okay, she's fine. Guy, why did everybody stop talking just because I was checking on Bionic Mom?
We were worried. We were concerned for your mum.
No, she's fine. Dad's going to bed. He was just giving her a kiss goodnight. So I was just I heard the movement
in my words. So I was done.
Oh, well, I mean, the truth is we all want somebody to like our story. You should realize not everybody is going to like your story. It could be the best written thing in the entire world. It could be the world's best written novel, and not everybody's going to like it because we all have different tastes. There are people who don't like Tolkien. There are people who don't like Star Wars. There are people who don't like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. There are people who don't like Dan Brown or Neil Gaiman or whoever. And these are all really big writers. There are people who don't like Stephen King and Rice. All these really big writers have people who don't like their writing.
Yeah.
And you have to realize that as a simple truth, is that not everybody's going to like your writing.
No,
it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means not everybody's going to like it. And that's a simple fact you have to learn. And
so there's only,
go ahead.
Go on. There's only 3 minutes of the show left, so Tasha, I want to ask you, what's new with you?
Oh, what's new with me? I've heard my name called more times in the past week than I think ever in my life. Because, like I said, Mom had the knee surgery, and she did really well. She's doing really well. So I'm helping her out. And then, of course, there's the 96-year-old grandfather, who I'm also helping out. He's pretty self-sufficient, but, you know. EL got to kind of sort of meet him. Not really meet him. He kind of decided he was going to come out and start talking to me in the middle of our critique session and just ignore the fact that I was on Skype. It was great.
He's adorable.
He's adorable. I could totally use a week of sleep. It'd be great, especially since I had 3 dogs sleeping in the bed with me and turning me into a question mark. Now it's just one, because Crowley sleeps on the floor and Storm is with me, and the other 2 are with Bionic Mom now. And that's about it. Just really, honestly, it's been the new agent, Mom, and taking care of the house around here for her. That's about it. So what about you, Em? What's new?
Not a lot. Oh, I released my book last week. My second book.
Read it. Read it.
I have.
Not you.
I know.
Alright, continue pimping. I'm sorry.
Well, I released it last week.
What's the name of it?
People don't want to know that. It's called Finding Immortal. It's book 2 in the Bearwood series. Book 1 is Fractured Immortal.
And it's on Amazon. Go get it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Fractured Immortal is free, so if you're into that sort of thing, it's there. Finding Immortal is only like $2.99 because I'm not going to inflate my prices. It's there if you want to read it. Suzanne, what's new with you?
What is new with me? Well, I just got back from like a 5-day vacation that was very desperately needed. I'm still tired.
Now you need a vacation from your vacation.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm still tired, but it's okay. I'm a little less tired than I was before I left. Trying to think. I'm currently on submission. I got my first full request last week and sent it out. So that is like super overwhelming and exciting, but now it's just like a giant waiting game because it's going to take months for most of these people to get back to me. So that's like a lot of like frantically checking my email to like a neurotic level, which is
That's another thing. You just made me think.
Yeah.
Patience, people. You need patience in this industry. Go ahead, Suzanne. Sorry.
Well, you really do, and I have absolutely none. So I've just adding. I discovered Query Tracker like last week. So
Really? I didn't tell you about that? Really? Oh, well, I'm sorry. I should have told you
someone
about
told me about it, but I just didn't listen. Like if I discovered, I mean, I finally like bucked up and used it. You know, like, cracked everything.
I love it. I love that site. It's great.
No, it's fantastic, and so it's also like helped me start realizing that I haven't like really queried that many people. So I've been going like a bunch of research and like querying more and like just adding, you know, because while I'm waiting, I might as well add more waiting to my waiting, right?
Why not?
Yeah, and then the other thing is I've started a new work in progress that's like totally unrelated to my current project because I want to make sure my first book is actually worth something before starting the second one. So this is a totally separate project. It's pretty dope. It's got witches in it, so we'll see what happens.
I like
Sounds
witches.
awesome. I like witches too. So, but holy crap, it's 9:01. And this whole half an hour snafu of a show is turned into a full hour because I have the most amazing ladies on my team. So just so you guys know that. Exactly. So, yeah, so I think we're going to call it a night, guys. We will be back next week, and I will let you know what's going on with that regarding the guests and everything then later in the week when I know what's going on. So have a good night, guys, and, you know, write creatively, drink responsible, and we'll see you Monday. Bye.
Bye.